Konnichiwa! It is I, Trunks of Steel, and today we're yapping about Persona 5, the Phantom X. As of this recording, we have hit roughly 14 hours. There's a lot of Persona 5 games. For this video, I'll be addressing these two, Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 the Phantom X, of course. Throughout the video, I will be addressing these editions as P5R and P5X respectively. Bro, that's so cap. I mean, it's literally just Persona 5 and Persona 5 the Phantom X. Let's be so for real. P5R is the definitive edition of... you guessed it, Persona 5, the hit JRPG, released in 2016. It's so successful, we're giving games like P5X nearly a decade later. Anyways, you clicked on this video to hear about P5X, so let's get right into that. I'll be providing a brief overview alongside what I think regarding some of the story and mainly the gameplay. So, first things first. This is definitely a Persona game. Yeah, I know it's in the title, but you know, it's a mobile spin-off, you know. Without spoiling anything really, for my time playing, it felt like P5X parallels or mirrors the original P5 game in terms of the story, with similar character archetypes and storylines. And I'm not gonna lie, there are so many hints of the original P5 in terms of theme that I would highly suggest playing that version prior to picking this one up. I mean, it is a spin-off of Persona 5 after all, so it's only gonna make sense that there's a lot of things from that original game that carry over. Alright, let's get into the story! A lot of the story ties into gameplay, but to keep things short, the story revolves around how there's been some sort of disturbance throughout Tokyo, which causes people to not care about anything going on around them. Only by going through the cognitive realm known as the metaverse in this universe, ours, can lead to change and remind those who have lost their way what it means to desire again. With that being said, there are some individuals who maybe desire a little too much, as their negative emotions are elevated and they turn into some major villains. I mean, just look at this guy. Why is he standing like that? And why is he pushing people? Like somebody help this man or stop him, you know? Anyways, you, the protagonist, have been deemed worthy of capable enough to dive into the metaverse and fight to help society wake up as you fight the manifestations of negative emotions known as shadows using your persona. Along the way, you make friends who become motivated to fight for various reasons, usually along the lines of standing up for the oppressed or the little guy. This is the general gist of the story without really spoiling anything. So when it comes to the gameplay, I'm gonna be so for real. This game has so many features and activities. I fear that would kind of complicate people or confuse them if I were to go over every single thing. So I will try to highlight some of the most important things that I have experienced in my short-ish time of playing as a newer player. You know, this game released in the China and Korean servers, and global has now only recently gotten it, and we're technically a year behind. Important context, by the way. Anyways, P5X is a JRPG with a focus on turn-based combat, alongside being a student simulator. This is probably the simplest way I can describe this game as a whole. When it comes to activities you can do being a student, you can attend class and they'll occasionally maybe ask you questions, and if you get an answer right, it'll increase one of your social stat points, and your social stat points are utilized to do other activities such as being able to hang out with your social links are in this game known as synergies. And synergies will provide you with not only more useful story and all of that for the characters you like, but they will also reward you pretty nicely. You can work a job to get money. You can go to different activities to increase different social stats. I will be showing a few of them in the background. So the core and fundamental gameplay does focus on that turn-based combat. So with that being said, we have our palaces, which essentially function as dungeons for the main quest. You dive into the cognitive realm known as the metaverse, or a palace for a specific individual who has let their desires kind of run rampant per se, and they essentially just need someone to put them in check, and that's what we the Phantom Thieves do in this game. It's really cool to see how palaces are designed because they are centered so much around the characters and their stories. Mainly, the person's usually the antagonist in this instance. They've had some form of a background that has led them to acting the way that they do in terms of being a little villainous or whatever, and as you progress, you're essentially kind of healing their heart or fixing them, I suppose, by stealing their treasure. That's the end goal, which I have not made it that far to do. I am solely speaking of my knowledge from P5 and P5R. Within the palaces, there are a multitude of puzzles and a bunch of loot to gather, so it's a lot of fun. You know, you're beating up a bunch of guys, you're getting a bunch of loot, and you're doing puzzles along the way as you try to 100% explore the area. That is how it functions in this game, at least from my time playing. I do enjoy all of this. I'm not gonna lie, some of the puzzles have been kind of just a wee bit annoying. They're not terrible to do or anything per se, but there have been some that are kind of, they just feel a little clunky in some instances, where I'm like pushing something or I'm trying to like detect something, and sometimes some of the puzzles just don't seem all that clear. But hey, maybe I'm just a little slow, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the brightest person in the world. So yeah, I own up to that. Throughout the palaces, there's also powerful enemies you can encounter, and they'll also give you additional rewards. So like there's just a plethora of rewards you can get through these things, and as you go through these palaces, they progress the story. I think as of recording, there are currently 2 big palaces in this game. We're going to briefly touch on the Mementos gameplay of this game. So Mementos is technically a palace for everyone's hearts and functions as the very core of the metaverse, if I'm not mistaken. So in this area, you can just explore as you ride Lufel, the transforming owl, beat up a bunch of shadows and earn tons of rewards. I'm not sure if there's like a true end to Mementos, but essentially, I hope a never-ending game mode where you just continuously progress and explore, and I hope that they expand upon it over time. You know, give us different enemies to fight, different looking themes to explore, instead of like maybe, you know, the same colors or whatever. Get a little creative with it. I mean, it is a little live service game, so I think that they should try to keep it going as long as they possibly can, without just, I don't know, letting it become something that's in the game and you're just done with it, you know. It'd be kind of sad. I actually enjoy exploring Mementos personally. So there are a couple of in-game-esque activities that kind of remind me of some other games, like Honkai Star Rails has a similar thing where you have combat scenarios and you use a team to try and beat it and strategize and all that. I haven't really made it to the end game, obviously. I mean, I've only just started this game. It only just came out technically 2 days ago as I'm recording this. But I've played like a little bit of the beginning stages, and from what I can gather, it seems a wee bit straightforward, at least as of now. I mean, again, I'm sure it'll get more complicated and more difficult as time progresses. Only time will truly tell how they handle these kind of things. As of right now, nothing seems very pay to win from what I've gathered, but hopefully this game actually maintains that kind of vibe, because you should never feel the need to pull for a character just to clear some content, but it's cool if you want a character. I think that's perfectly fine. It seems like mono teams would be effective so far in these kind of game modes. So like maybe you want a team that consists of all fire characters. You know, you have a fire damage dealer, a fire buffer or debuffer, and maybe like a support that just happens to be fire. I feel like I'm naming a very specific team, but that's cool. This being a live service gacha game, there are lots of mechanics that encourage you to play daily and grind it out per se. As of beginning, I've taken the approach of just playing this game religiously, because not only am I having so much fun with it, but I also really do want to try to get as much as I can while I can, because I'm going to be very busy fairly soon. So I've been up enjoying, I've been loving this game, mind you. I've been up at like 3 a.m. just grinding everything out, having an absolute blast. But when it comes to the energy system, you have two mechanics per se. You have one energy system for your social activities as a student, doing your student living, so hanging out with people and getting the rewards from that requires energy. Going to the movies, for an example, studying, just about anything you could think of, trying to earn some money to purchase things in the actual city of where you're playing, you know, like Tokyo, basically. That's where this game takes place, modern day Tokyo. All those things are gonna take energy, and I believe you get a cap of 20 of them technically, and you can have a multiplication of 3, or you can just do 1. Bottom line is, you'll be able to do multiple activities within a given day. To be honest, it's not something I would terribly sweat, but it is a live service mechanic to essentially slow down your progression potential and kind of give you a moment to stop playing or whatever. The second type of energy system is created for your materials and leveling up your characters, your personas, your weapons, all that kind of stuff, ranking it up. You have a cap of 240 every day, and it's honestly just one of those little live service things that I do find a wee bit annoying, because it's just time gating your content. I somewhat welcome it, only because realistically there's only so much an individual could or maybe should do within a given day, but at the same time there's means to buy extra energy through the shop and premium currencies. So I mean, it's kind of just like a little bit of a mixed bag. Like, why are we doing this? Well, we know why, but it doesn't mean I gotta like it necessarily. Another thing I'd like to briefly touch on in this game are the social links / synergies. In all of the other Persona games, I guess excluding the spin-offs technically per se, there's arcanas featured for every character or social link that you acquire, hang out with, all that good stuff. And I feel like the removal or absence of it is pretty noticeable. I feel like the Arcanas are just a neat little way of dabbling some extra personality into the characters you interact with. You can just totally see their alignment with one of the Arcanas, and you're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense, I can see that. And it's just kind of unfortunate that they don't exist at all in this game, in my opinion. Ooh, something big I want to touch on very briefly. For this game, there is no English dub present whatsoever. And I believe, as a Persona fan, it is pretty noticeable. There have been a lot of funny and iconic moments that have only been truly experienced just through that English dub in previous entries. You know, the way they would deliver the lines, and you can just hear the expression. Now, granted, there is no dub in this game. I still do enjoy the voice acting. I mean, I can't understand a thing they're saying without the translation text, but you can definitely hear the emotions and whatnot in their voices. And I do think it's quite commendable how much voice acting there is for this technical spin-off. I mean, the story it's just been superb so far. There's been a lot of voice acting, even if it's not for the language I speak. I'd just like to take a brief moment to go over the gacha system in place for Persona 5X. So we have a standard banner, which includes, you know, your standard characters. It's going to require a total of 80 pulls to guarantee a 5-star character. We have a featured banner that's also going to require 80 pulls to guarantee a 5-star character. As of right now, the only type of featured banners we have are 50-50s, so 50% chance that you get the character you're actually trying to attempt to get. Currently we have Joker as our featured character, and a 50% chance you get a standard character such as Ryuji or Morgana as example. This game also features a beginner banner in which that you can actually earn the choice between An, Ryuji, or Morgana. And you get this fairly easy just grinding out the beginning of the game. If you want my recommendation, I would go with An, as she is a good fire damage dealer and she's going to help you in the early game content. Morgana is also a very solid choice as he is a very useful support and healer. And Ryuji's cool, but I think out of the choices that you have, at least from what people have said that have played in the other servers, he's going to kind of fall off a little faster. At the end of the day though, this game's no fun if you're not actually playing as the characters you want to, so, you know, choose who you want to play as. So this is what the weapon banner looks like actually within the game. It says one of your 3 dream pick weapons have a 50% chance to drop when a 5-star weapon is pulled. So it can either be the featured weapon or a 5-star weapon. You select between 2 of them. So is this like a 50, 25, 25 or just a straight up 50-50? Yeah. I don't know, I'll let you be the judge of that. Usually gacha games will give you like tons of events where you can practically earn just about everything you would want to as a free to play. Like, I mean, it's not realistic to say, alright, I'm gonna get every 5-star character and their 5-star weapon, every update. I mean, that's just a little unrealistic, completely free to play. But if you don't go for weapons, and you're only trying to secure the character, and you're only going for 1 copy of them, I would say it's pretty realistic. Don't know entirely for this game yet, it's way too early to tell. People who have played in the Chinese servers and the Korean servers though have said that this game has been very generous in terms of their rewards, and they eventually will or should have a guarantee banner, so if you do 110 pulls you can actually just secure the character and there's no kind of like gambling in mind or anything of the sort. Granted, I mean, at least we do have a pity system. I kind of think of gacha games like gambling with training wheels because there is some sort of guarantee at the end. This more or less wraps up my video. I think all in all, Persona 5 The Phantom X is a very fun, enjoyable experience. It may be worth playing for those who have especially indulged in the Persona 5 content in particular. If you have not played Persona 5 at all, I struggle recommending going to this first because I feel like you would just have a way stronger first impression and connection if you were to play the base original console game, or at least Persona 5 Royal, as it is technically the definitive edition of that game and probably the best way to play it. But yeah, I'd like to give thanks for all those who have supported me. It's been an honor, and if you want to stay tuned, I will show my first ever premium multi. Have a wonderful day. Here we go. We're about to do our very first multi. First premium multi, actually. I wonder what the 5-star animation looks like. I'm gonna try putting Rin down here for our boy Joker. Hopefully that secures the bag. Hey yo, eye flash? What does that mean? Is that guarantee already? First multi? Are you freaking serious right? Oh my gosh. If we get Joker on the very first multi, our first premium multi, that would be insane. Oh my gosh. No. It's here. It's here. Dude, you gotta be freaking kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Oh man. Well, looks like I gotta keep playing this game, guys. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be playing some more Persona 5X.